This poor man spent 40,000 yuan on a first-class ticket just to meet the airline's CEO. However, after shaking hands with him, the tycoon kept sanitizing his hands. Although it was somewhat awkward for Mara, he didn't mind. He said he wanted to start a low-cost airline so that poor people could afford to fly. But he was mocked by the tycoon. The wealthy person believes that airplanes are meant to serve the rich, and the idea of poor people wanting to fly is simply a fantasy. Then he ordered someone to send Mara to the economy class, but Mara protested because he bought a first-class ticket and no one has the right to remove him. But the tycoon was about to show him what real power is. After whispering a few words to the flight attendant, an announcement of a malfunction was made, and the plane unexpectedly turned back. Mara was kicked off the plane, but the tycoon would never have imagined that this poor man would engage in a fateful showdown with him. As soon as Mara walked out of the airport, he was called by an older man, Mr. Bai, a venture capitalist. He had heard Mara's business plan on the plane and was very interested, wanting to discuss it further with Mara. Mara took Mr. Bai to a small restaurant, but Mr. Bai was quite disdainful of the environment, wondering why they didn't go to a 5-star hotel. Mara asked the waiter to bring a plate of pizza, and Mr. Bai reluctantly took a bite, but was instantly captivated by the taste. Mara told him that the food here is not inferior to that of high-end hotels. The hygiene conditions are also very good, but the price is less than 1/10 of high-end hotels. Similarly, a low-cost airline can eliminate unnecessary services, thus reducing costs by 10%. By developing an online ticketing system and eliminating the middleman in ticket purchasing, costs can be further reduced. Other airlines fly twice a day. We can fly 6 times a day, which will greatly increase the number of ticket buyers, making it hard not to make a profit. Old Bai had a look of disbelief on his face, then took Mara to meet with the board. Mara used data to deeply analyze his business concept, but faced skepticism from other shareholders. Even if they were willing to invest, Mara couldn't afford to buy enough planes, but he didn't plan to buy planes at all. He intended to rent planes at a low cost from Americans. Due to the impact of the 911 incident, the American aviation industry has been severely hit, and now their planes can be rented for half the price. The shareholders, considering the rare opportunity, agreed to Mara's plan, but the funds would not be available for at least 6 months. Mara had to advance the money to rent the planes, but this was also a significant expense. Even if her mother mortgaged the house and farmland, it would not be enough to raise such an amount. They went to the richest person in the village to borrow money. The richest person was once Mara's father's student, and to express gratitude to the teacher, he tearfully lent Mara 47 million. Next, they needed to handle the relevant licenses. Mara arrived early at the Civil Aviation Bureau and waited from the start of work until the end, but did not get the director's signature because the director and the aviation minister had an emergency meeting. The director asked Mara to come back tomorrow. Although the director reviewed the plan the next day, he told Mara to come back tomorrow for the signature. Mara had to wait another day, but that day the assistant told Mara that the director had gone on a 7-day annual leave. He never intended to issue you the license because you are just a nobody. Mara was deeply affected. She sat alone at the train station, lost in thought, when she inadvertently learned that the president was about to visit. She asked a journalist friend to help her sneak into the hotel where the president was staying, but she was stopped at the final checkpoint. Mara was unwilling to give up halfway, so she shouted inside, "I want to start a low-cost airline." This caught the president's attention. Mara told the president her story. It turned out that when Mara was young, she had a big argument with her father and left home to become a fighter pilot. During her service, she received a call that her father was critically ill. She hurried to the airport but couldn't afford a plane ticket. She borrowed money from strangers around her, using her military status as a guarantee, but no one was willing to help her. Mara had to switch to other means of transportation, and after several days, she finally returned to her hometown, but her father had already passed away. Mara didn't get to see her father one last time, which became her greatest regret. So she turned her grief into strength, determined to start a low-cost airline so that poor people could afford plane tickets. The president was moved by her experience and courage and wrote a letter of recommendation, which finally allowed Mara to obtain the necessary license. Her airline could finally operate, but American Airlines cancelled their cooperation because the Indian Civil Aviation Authority issued new regulations requiring Boeing to provide blueprints, or else their planes would be detained. This was clearly targeted by the Civil Aviation Authority. Mara went to the director to demand an explanation. Facing the ridicule from the Civil Aviation Authority, Mara was also at a loss. She explained the situation to the investor, Lao Bai, but Lao Bai told her a shocking secret. It was all a conspiracy by a tycoon. He manipulated the Civil Aviation Authority to change the law in one day, and even the investor Lao Bai was arranged by him. Because Mara's business plan threatened the tycoon's interests, he set her up, causing her to fall into debt of 47 million. Mara angrily went to confront the tycoon, but was mercilessly suppressed.